Okay, today's video is about the SI system of measurements. Most of the world uses SI. Only the United States and a few other very small countries use the customary system, which uses inches, feet, and pounds. SI stands for the International System of Measurement. Some people also call it metric, and that's the same thing. So why do we use SI? It is easy. It's really easy to convert from one unit to another because everything is based on the number 10. Everything is either 1/10, 100, 1,000, based on the base unit. So everything is numbers of 10. It's really easy to divide and multiply. Also, you don't have to memorize random numbers. So you don't have to remember how many inches are in a feet, or that there are 5,280 feet in a mile, or that there are 16 ounces in a pound. Everything is based on 10, so it's really easy to remember how many millimeters are in a meter, for example. So we will only be using SI in class. If you write an answer with inches or pounds, I'm going to count it wrong. So the SI system has a base unit for each type of measurement that you make. And that's what we consider the base or the normal unit for that measurement. So first of all, mass. That is the amount of matter that is in an object. And we'll talk about that more in Unit 2. The base unit for mass is the gram. And you measure that with a triple beam balance. Length is obviously how long something is. And the base unit for it is the meter. And you measure it with a ruler or meter stick. And then lastly is volume. It depends on whether it's liquid or solid, which unit you use. So for liquid volume, you use the liter, so water or soda. You're probably familiar with that. And for solid volume, you use a cubic meter. Liquid volume, you measure with a graduated cylinder. And solid volume, you measure with a ruler or meter stick. So these three are the base units for each of these measurements. There are also measurements for force, weight, and temperature, but we'll talk about those later. So the great part of SI is that it's really easy to change from a very small unit to a very large unit. So for example, if you were trying to measure the distance between here and California, you're not going to want to use meters because it would be millions of meters. The number doesn't make sense. So you want to make that unit larger. So what you do is you add a prefix on the front of your word. So for example, distance is meters. If we want to measure very large distances, you add the word kilo in front of the word meter. So kilometer, kilo, meter. And this means 1,000 of your base unit. So these are the prefixes if you want to make your unit larger. Kilo means 1,000 of the base unit, and it's abbreviated with a K. Hecto means 100 of your base unit. So 100 meters, 100 liters, things like that. And it's abbreviated with an H. And then deca is 10 of the base unit. So a decameter would be the same as 10 meters. And it's abbreviated with a DK. Also, you can make the unit smaller. So if you're trying to measure the width of a tiny bug, you're not going to want to use meters because it would be a fraction of a meter because a meter is very long. So you can add these prefixes and it makes the unit smaller. So deci is 1/10 and it's abbreviated with a D. So decimeter would be 1/10 of a meter. Centi is 1/100 and it's abbreviated with a C. So centimeter is 1/100th of a meter. Milli equals 1/1000 and is abbreviated with an M. So millimeter is 1/1000th of a meter. So for example here, 1 kilometer, kilometer, abbreviated K for the kilo, and M for the meter, so abbreviated KM, is equal to 1,000 meters. That's 1,000 of your base unit, so 1,000 meters. There's a mnemonic to remember the prefixes for the metric system. And this is Miss Russell's example, and I loved it, so I wanted to use it too. It's kings have diamonds, man, and diamonds cost money. And she does something like, kings have diamonds, man, and diamonds cost money. So don't forget that. Kings have diamonds, man, and diamonds cost money. So kings is kilo, half hecto. Diamonds is deca. Man stands for meter, but that's your base unit. This could also be liter or gram. So man is your base unit. Diamonds is deci. Cost is centi. And money is milli. So kings have diamonds, man, and diamonds cost money. Don't forget that. So if you write out this mnemonic with the prefixes in order, it makes it really easy to convert from one unit to another. So to convert from one to another, use the phrase, move your decimal as many spaces as your word moves. So for example, 1 kilometer equals how many centimeters? So we're going to go ahead and write our 1. And then if you count from kilometer to centimeter, it tells you how many spots to move your decimal. So kilo to hecto is 1. Hecto to deca is 2. Deca to unit is 3. Unit to deci is 4. And deci to centi is 5. So since we're going smaller, we want to move our decimal to the right because we moved to the right. So we have a 1 here, and the decimal always goes after the whole number. So if you have a whole number, the decimal is always after it. And we need to move it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because we moved 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places. And since we have these blanks, we have to put in zeros. And then move your decimal over here. So 1 kilometer is equal to 100,000 centimeters. Because we moved 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places. So if you use the phrase, you just count how many words over you move, and that's the direction and the number of times you move your decimal. Let's try this one. So 250 milligrams. I'm going to write our 250 here equals how many grams? So milli is here, and we're going to move over 1, 2, 3. Remember that this word man stands for our base unit. Grams is the base unit for mass. So again, from milli to grams, we're moving 1, 2, 3 places to the left. So we want to do that as well. And remember, our decimal always goes after the last number if it's a whole number. And you move 1, 2, 3 places. You put your decimal there. So, release that. And 0.250 grams equals 250 milligrams. If you need help with this, make sure you rewind and rewatch this part. It's really important. So if you're moving to the right in the sentence, you move your decimal to the right. If you're moving to the left in the sentence, you move your decimal to the left. And we'll practice this more in class. Lastly, make sure you always include your units, which means the letter here. So this would be grams, and this would be centimeters. If you just put 100,000, or if you just put 0.25, that doesn't tell me anything. You could be talking about 100,000 centimeters, or 100,000 liters, or 100,000 squirrels. Without this unit, this label here, this number means nothing. So make sure you always include your units.